Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 1. And we've had our mid-season break, though that means one thing. We're for round 6, and that is the Baku Grand Prix. And it, means that we've had that little bit of a break since the Monaco Grand Prix at round 5. Let's have a look at the standings since that result. And Ryderdal leads by 7 points to Matteo and Francesco Largo, who's put themselves into this championship battle. Silo's there, in with a chance at this point, but not racing tonight for them or for Justin, means that it could be a little bit more problematic for them going forward. Volokongan had a better point scoring last time out, means putting themselves into 6th place is the championship. Well, the reigning champion, I should say. But yeah, from that, Sogioli's victory in Monaco catapults themselves into 9th place. Joseph is just finishing off their holiday, their mid-season break. They will be alongside me very, very shortly. But that is the standings as we can see. The cars are just about to go on track. They are very much on the case of on the circuit early, could be meaning there is a little bit of rain coming in. But this 20 corner circuit can cause a few problems through a lot of these drivers. As coming through the castle section now is Tony Richet. Don't want to hit the walls on your outlap, but warming up those tyres nicely through this one. Heading on through where famously Ericsson hit me corner from Grosjean. And then down into turn 15 for Tony Richet, knocking the bollard out of the way as they head on down into turn 16. And this is pretty much where their flying lap starts. They want to get as much pace from this point onwards. Well, I say that. They are still warming up their tyres, Tony, as Tony Richet then continues on warming those tyres up. I don't think you'd really want to start powering down before this point. So Tony doing something a little bit different, warming those tyres up. A yellow flag right at the back. Now pressing and powering down into turn 1 for the Kick Sauber driver. Tony, well, wanting to maybe get back on top of things. A driver that many, I think, would say would have been in with a shout for a championship victory this season, but not having it their way. Clipping the wall on the exit of turn 2 as they hurtle themselves down towards turn 3, one of 2 DRS zones. Really, you only get between turn 20 and turn 1 and turn 2 and turn 3 for DRS zones here, even though there's plenty of opportunity to overtake elsewhere on the track. Now into the nice flowing turn 5 and 6. I quite like that on this track, and then into the real tricky part of the castle section, which we've seen so many times in the past catch loads of drivers out. And last time, I believe, we were here in WR Console Tier 1 Season 17. It was round 4. And it was a Liam Bowman win. Throwing out some old school names through there. But Tony still battling through, hopping over the curb, and then hitting the wall on the exit of turn 15. Probably would have caused the tyres a lot of damage in real life, but thankfully in the game not causing too much of a problem. Hurtling still through while there's still a gaggle of cars behind ready to set lap times. But here is Tony keeping to the inside as they head towards the start finish line, and it's a 137 to start things off as we go on board with Lifebout, who has invalidated. A bit further down though, Ryderdal, another driver who's we could have seen better in the past, but a lot better this season, hurtling down the start-finish straight to set their lap time for this one. And across the line, Giron setting the fastest lap of the qualifying so far, as Ryderdal manages a very similar time to Tony. I believe I've got Joseph back in the lobby with me. Joseph, are you Are you ready? Are you alive?
I am alive, but I'm not quite in the lobby yet. So if I
Okay.
could have an invite, that would be
You
wonderful.
certainly.
But very excited to see Azerbaijan this evening.
I will quickly get you into the lobby if I can see you. You're not showing online on EA Friends.
Give me a second because I'm just logging into I'm just communicating with online services, and then I will be.
Yeah, you've got to love that. Let's see. Siab, have they set a lap time yet? I don't think they are. Coming into this final few corners for them now, as they're going to set a lap time. Lawrence is on an out lap. Ziawadi, Quantum, I think all struggling to set lap times and invalidating somewhere along the lines. Siab then, the IRT driver, hurtling down. What can they set? It's looking like maybe a late 39s on their side of things as well. And I say that, it's a 38.8. Not a late 39, I mean into the 39s is what I was meant to say. But are you... Lifebout going around the outside of, I think that was Tony, to get into the pits quicker than the driver that is into P2. But are you still connecting to online servers, or are you?
I believe you can invite me now. It's showing me as online at least.
Right, let's. Apologies for showing the invite friend list on. There we go. Hopefully you've got that, as we've got drivers now back out on track as VNT Tom on an early out lap. Someone has just got, I think that's Quantum going a bit further up. Is Kevin on a lap time? They could very well be, as they're coming through Sector 2 now into the castle section. Hopefully we'll see your name, Joseph, pop back on the screen very shortly to say that you're in the lobby. And there we go.
It should do. There we go.
Perfect
almost as if you called it.
It's like I know what I'm talking about half the time, which I don't. Here is Kevin, though, coming through, heading towards, and possibly one of the more, well, other than the castle section, this is quite tricky to get right heading into turn 15, because you could overcook it, you can undercook it, you can lose a lot of time at that corner, and they're going to lose a lot of time because they've just lost the front end plate.
Yeah, not ideal at all to lose the front end plate, but especially around this circuit, it feels very, very difficult when you have some sort of issue around this circuit. We've got a few new names on this grid tonight, of course, the majority of which are regular to viewers. For example, the likes of Yeroan on that pole position, Tony Reich on that front row, Namsko in third place, not sure who that is, and then we've got VNT Tom in this field. No Niall Gio tonight. He's made the switch over to PC. Sieb is brand new. But I think something that I've noticed is interesting about console this year especially is the desperation for drivers to switch over to PC, because I've seen a number of these drivers not quit the game, but popping up in Tier 3, Tier 4 PC. So I'm not quite sure why that is. And Tony Reich retiring from the session. Has he crashed?
Crashed out turn 1. That is not ideal for a driver that is currently P2. I think Chris, I just saw the back end of it. No front tyre, or the tyre like just hanging off at some stage, which is not ideal. But let's try and get back on board with VNT Tom before they finish their lap time, crossing the first sector marker. There's 4 drivers yet to set a lap time, and well, I'm sure you know, Joseph, but they Niall didn't win the Monaco Grand Prix 2 weeks ago here in console tier 1, which was a bit of a shock.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he's quit console. I think he was planning out on going on a really big like, I'm going to win and then I'm going to instantly quit console. Didn't work, so he just sort of like went out with a limp. But yeah, Lawrence also retiring. It looks like he's lost it in the castle section. Going to see if we can ride on board with, I believe that'll be Enzo Sabaton heading through that section and see what happened. He's despawned by that point, but I think Lawrence is your second victim of the Baku City circuit.
Which is not ideal when you come to Baku, because you want to be kind of high up the list, but also it's a track known for safety cars, it's a track known for, well, everything really in real life as well as console racing and PC racing or sim racing. VNT Tom up into 8th place. Volakongan only managing 9th currently so far. Dirk unable to set a lap time, and they've invalidated on their push through. Have we got anyone else to go on board with? Ryder Dahl, are they? They might be on a lap. Let's see what Ryder Dahl can do.
Yeah, we'll see. Ryder Dahl currently in 4th place, a 10th down on his previous lap time. So I'd say that's probably an in lap at this point, or potentially. I think this might actually be a push lap. Just having a look at some of the data of Ryder Dahl. So we'll stay with the Alpine as he heads through the second sector. Does better than Lawrence to get through the castle section, and I wouldn't be surprised if Lawrence is not the only driver to crash in that castle section tonight, as Ryder Dahl heads through that second sector. What is the split going to be? It's not going to be anything, as he's invalidated and he's tapped the wall on the exit. That's going to be another bogey corner, I think, for the drivers. That penultimate braking zone of the lap, because that if you ride that curb too much, you're gonna throw yourself into the wall, lose a front wing, something like that. If you take it too late, then you're going to miss the turning, and actually you'd have a worse fate. You'd have a tyre off. So it's I think that corner more than any other that you have to get right, even more than the castle section.
Yeah, I think, putting it perfectly right there, as I think the Shazoo Venom is on, I believe, on a push lap. Looked a bit scruffy, but saying that, go on board, turn 7, invalidation. I think we're going to see a lot of things there through turn 7 for invalidation. I'm surprised that Ryder Dahl invalidated where they did. But also, I think maybe their teammate Matteo, maybe not in the best of positions through turns 13, 14. Maybe being a little bit in the way. I'm not trying not to put words in my mouth here, but could possibly have just been in the way a little bit. But I'm not sure on the exact frustrations through that. But we'll go on board with Matteo, as Giron is a 1:37.6 for now.
Yeah, Yarrowing up to the top of the sheets with a 37.6, and that is a very good lap as Matteo heads through the... I believe Matteo's actually doing 2 laps, so I think this is an out lap, and the second lap might actually be a push. We'll see when he gets up to the second split. What the Alpine's done so far, his teammate invalidated it. This corner, huge slide for Matteo, but he's been able to hold it, so that's a very, very good move from Matteo. To just gain a lot of time. He's gained 0.3 of a second, and he can use absolutely everything as ERS and his DRS as they head around the final couple of corners and down to the straight and down to the split time. He's improving by 0.34 of a second, so that should put him in a strong position to take provisional pole if he's able to find any time on this lap. If he's not, then he's going to be in P2 or this sector even. Is he going to be pole? No, it's not, because he was unable to find time. He actually lost 0.08 of a second, did Matteo, and so he's on the front row, but he's going to be feeling like that lap. There was a bit of time in it.
Yeah, definitely for that. So yeah, let's see what they could do. 0.7 of a second up, is that right? That's a very good... I might be misconstrued in that from that point. He's 3.6 seconds down. I thought so. Teammate just ahead, Misha, with no front wing. Chris, are you on a lap time? You've invalidated the Ferrari just in front of them. Looks like they've got no front wing, but Lifebout battling through, coming through turn 13, 14 and into 15 now. Let's see what the Haas driver can do tonight.
Not gone so well so far for him, and it's been a bit down on his time, so it's not going to be ideal for the Haas either, and well, we'll see. We'll see, because I think a lot of these drivers are having to back out of these laps. They're making those mistakes, and it's fine at this point in the session, but when you get to crunch time, when you get to the point where the track is evolved to the maximum that it will be, that's when this is really going to cost you. And I think they're trying to get the mistakes out of the way early so they can push on that final run.
Yeah, I think they need to, as well, we've missed Kevin and Quantum going into second and third place there, doing some incredible lap times, as Quantum desperate to get back into the pits in time to maybe throw a second or a last run at it. They've already done a couple of runs through this one. This yellow flag still waving, I think, for maybe the Aston Martin. Into the pits they go. Drivers, well, 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes remaining on this one. Drouin on pole for the time being with a lovely lap time. Who do you think is going to claim pole with things as they are?
Well, I think Yerowan's just been so good pace-wise in this race. He's been first in that first stint. He's been first in that second stint. And I think if he doesn't bottle it, he won't get it. Even if he does bottle it, I think he'll still get it because everybody else will bottle more. That seems to be the way that everyone's done this session so far. Because, well, if you have a look at the lap times, Yerowan is actually, he's got a 37.6. Quantum's got a 37.6. Then you've got 4 drivers in the 7s, and then there's a whole 2 tenths back to Tony Reish, who set that 37.9 in his first run. Then you've got Ryderdale, and everybody else is in the 38. So there's at least 4 tenths of a second for pretty much half, even over half the grid if you're including Dirk, who's not set a time yet. So there's a lot of time needed to gain for these drivers, I think, in this final set. If any of them are able to, then they'll be able to catch up to Yerowan. The way that they've driven so far, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I'm going to put you down as a Yerowan pole position then. I'm going to go Quantum, the driver, in second place, able to be the driver to match the Red Bull car at the moment. However, there's a lot of pressure on board with this driver right now, Dirk, who is, I think, trying to purposely be slow through this because they know if they go too soon, they're going to be they're going to get caught up with a gaggle of cars through their final lap, and they've not set a lap time yet.
Yeah, no lap time yet for Dirk. It's not ideal for the V-Carb, and he's got to come around the final corner. He's gone nice and early on this lap, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do. There's still 2 drivers in the pit, or there's actually only 1 driver in the pits. It is Kevin Zunneberg, who's not going to be improving on his time. I don't think he's coming out of the pits now. It's going to be very tight for the Kick Sauber as to whether he's going to be able to do it. The other 2 that I was seeing in the pit lane were Tony Reish and Lawrence, who, of course, are not able to set better lap times. Lawrence's best lap time will be a 38.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the back row of the grid. That is, if Sviade, Enzo Sabaton and Dirk are able to get their final laps right, and the V-Carb heading around the first corner now to see what he's going to be able to do. He's got no marker, so we've got no real indication of how he's going to be doing, but I can tell you that the pole time set by Yerowan so far was a 34.4, a 39.2, and then a 23.8 to take that pole position away, and a 34.4 is what Dirk's aiming for in that first sector, but a slap against the wall is not going to be ideal. That's going to lose him a bit of time, and almost a slap against the wall. I think actually he's caught his rear left tyre on the wall there, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time as well. But heading out of the first sector, it is a 34.4, so it's a good lap time so far from Dirk, and he's going to see if he can match that 39.2 in that second sector. Dirk now heading through into the castle section. This is where you can make or break a lap, slapping the wall again. He's using the extremities of the circuit, but at the moment it's not costing him any time. He's not lost a tyre, he's not lost any sort of wing, so he's doing a very good job just to keep that in the straight line as he heads down into the final sector. Now, this is the last bit where you can really cost a lap if you take too much curbing. He's taken just about enough curbing. This is a very good lap from Dirk, and he could be going on to set this pole position time of 13.5 in the second sector. And now it's all about flat out how much ERS have you saved, V-Carb, as to whether you're going to get that pole position away. That is going to be the deciding factor. And Dirk around the final corner now, full throttle, everything being used. Is this going to be the pole position time from the V-Carb driver? I think it's going to be a 37 at the very least, and Dirk's going to come up to the line, and it's going to be a magnificent lap of 37.2 to take pole position away from Yerowan, put the pressure back on the Red Bull, and he's got it by 3.5 tenths of a second as the checkered flag waves.
What a lap time from Dirk, out of nowhere. And I seem to remember Dirk having a very good race last time I commentated over Baku with them here as well. But across the line for Yassir, and they can't go any higher than 15th. Where else can we go on board with? There's definitely a Ferrari heading towards the back. Ziawadi going to cross the line. Quantum, I think, is a bit further back as well. Driver's not able to improve, just ahead of the Ferrari. But let's see what Enzo Sabaton can go. Oh, my goodness me. Yerowan has snatched pole back away from Dirk right at the end. Enzo Sabaton, though, across the line for the Ferrari driver. It's a very good lap time nonetheless. Here is Quantum. Quantum is down on their lap time. This is not ideal for Quantum. The driver I said would take pole, but just didn't get hooked that second sector up at all. And it looks like they are going Oh, they're going to hug that inside, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going into the pits, actually, with no front end plate there. Kevin Zonneberg then did manage to get back across the line in time to set a lap time, but the red light is flashing very early down this back straight and may not have saved enough ERS, and across the line for the Kick Sauber driver. It's not an improvement for them, unfortunately, and that is qualifying over and done with.
It certainly is. Yeroen taking pole position. What did I say? How many's that right in the season now? But Yeroen on that pole. A 1-2 for Shazoo Cedar Igniters. And that is a very, very good performance from them. It's almost as if they're on the same esports team. They might be sharing the same setups and the same practice.
That is, that's it's only your second pole prediction correct.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot more than that. I must have got race predictions right or something.
No, I don't think we've done very well at all. I've got nothing right. And your stand-in last week didn't get it right either. So, well, yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. That's what you get for taking a break week.
Well, to be fair, I think everybody would have predicted the same person and everybody would have been wrong.
Yeah.
However, I would have probably gone for someone different just out of spite, so I might have got it right, but hey. I'm still beating you, so that's what matters. Anyway, Yeroen on pole position, Dirk in second place. He'll be alongside on the front row. Ryderdal and Quantum make up the second row of the grid. Enzo Sabaton and Shazoo Venom qualified within, well, just over 100th of each other, with Kevin Zonneberg, Armateo, Tom and Volakongan rounding out your top 10. Namsko in 11th place will be alongside Lifebout on the 6th row of the grid. Then it's Misha, Tony Reish, Zviade, Kagetkovsky, Sieb, Yasser Saki, Chris RBL, and then Lawrence, as I predicted, is on the back row and he's actually in the back position, so nobody bottling their last laps, and so he'll be starting from the very back.
A quick look at the standings again, just to remind you all what is going on. And it's Ryderdal with a 7-point lead at the championship at the moment, away from Matteo and Francesco Largo. But there's no Francesco Largo this week, which means that Matteo versus Ryderdal. Ryderdal in third, Matteo in eighth, the two Alpine drivers. No Silo either, no Justin. So the next driver that could cause Ryderdal and Matteo problems is the reigning champion down in 6th place, but he's 10th on the grid tonight.
Yeah, he's really not had the greatest of campaigns. It's been really surprising to see, actually, how, not badly, but how not quite up to speed quite yet Volakongan is. And it's been, because obviously last season ended so well, it's been interesting to see that he hasn't been able to adapt to this this game so far, but I'm sure that he'll get into it second half of the season and he'll be able to fight at the very top.
We'll have to wait and see. And I'm going to ask early in the chat who you think is going to take victory tonight. Is it going to be any of the drivers in the top 4 where Quantum's qualified well, Ryderdal, the championship leader right now, and Dirk, who threw that lap in at the end? Or can the pole sitter, Yeroen, do something tonight from pole position? The Shazoo Cedar Igniter driver. But also, I'm going to ask the question from you, Joseph, who you think is going to take victory tonight?
I think Yeroen showed that he's got very good pace around this. I think he is going to be a really, really strong contender, and in fact, that's probably who I'm going to go for this one. I think I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to be in full support of a driver that I've not really. It's not that I've not rated him, but I've never really put him up there so far this season. But I think Baku is his circuit, and I think he's going to get it tonight.
Fair enough. As just had a slight camera issue there. Apologies. You know what? I'm going to go Dirk.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean,
yeah, I think there's going to be an incident, and Dirk is going to somehow just slide on through. I don't know. I always say that though. I don't know if I kind of want an incident or if it's just one of those things. But well, let's. As Baku as a track, how does this rate with other tracks for yourself?
I'm a big fan of it. I'm a really big fan of Baku. I think it really tests the drivers. It's one of the only, because I'm a big street circuit hater. It's one of the only street circuits that I quite like, and I think it's because it makes it almost like a real circuit. But we're going to go to the final. Here in Azerbaijan around that Baku Street circuit. And the action's underway. Yeroin is going to get off to a great launch, and it's going to be Ryderdal and Dirk into turn one. Dirk actually getting bogged down, and he drops down to third place. Enzo Sabaton on the outside, not able to get through on Quantum, and so the drivers are going to filter through in the top five as they were. It's 3 wide for 6th place. Venom, Kevin Dunneberg and Mateo, seeing who's going to be able to take that position. It looks like it's going to be Venom, but now Mateo is under pressure from Volokongan, who's made his way up from 10th place, and he might be making it to 8th as it's 2 by 2 by 2 in the lower echelons of the points. And Mateo trying to take that inside line now on Volokongan. Is he going to be able to squeeze this one through? I think he has been successful, and he's defended the position. Volokongan going to try and come back on that inside line. Mateo not leaving him any space at all. And it's going to be Mateo who holds that position, but it's going to be Yeroin after that supreme start who holds the top of the field.
And what a drive there, is some squabbling happening behind as well. But Mateo having a very good defensive drive, and Volokongan doing everything they can to get through, but not happening on this stage right now. And, well, what a start. Vidadal for them as well, up into 2nd place, with Dirk having a problematic get off the line, and Quantum looking very racy behind Dirk, and Dirk's got to worry about the driver in behind instead of the driver in front.
Yes, it's coming to the end of the first lap here in Azerbaijan. Yeroin leading the way 5/10 ahead of Ryderdal after that supreme launch. Both he and Ryderdal got off to incredible starts. Dirk getting a little bit bogged down, and he's dropped to 3rd place. Might be under pressure from Quantum, as the DRS will be enabled on that 2nd lap of this Grand Prix, and the McLaren closing right in now. We'll see what they're going to be able to do in terms of their pace in comparison to each other. I think everybody here's got quite low wings, so potentially we might be seeing something along the lines of rain later on, but we're going to have to wait and see as to what's going to happen with that one, as we're going to get our first burst of DRS down the 2nd straight on the lap after turn number 2, and it's going to remain as you were up at the top of the field. Yeroin to Ryderdal, to Dirk, to Quantum, to Enzo Sabaton, and then Venom in 6th place. Kevin Zunneberg struggling to stay in the DRS, and well, we might be dropping down very soon. Mateo and Volokongan behind them after a fierce battle on the first lap are well, they're looking very, very pacey in this race, and well, they're on medium tyres, as are the top 12 and Kay Gatkovsky. Everybody else behind, though, taking gambles. They're all on the hards.
Yeah, it's just Enzo having to defend vigorously from Venom behind, coming through the castle sections. A little bit of a breather for them, and Kevin Zunneberg catching back up. But yeah, Enzo Sabaton struggling a little bit from the pace that is showing from Venom behind, and Venom may not have been able to set a proper qualifying lap through. But when you go to the top, Yeroin and Ryderdal setting a pace advantage over Dirk and Quantum at the moment, as it's settled down a little bit. And Namskal on the set of hard compound tyres, same as Lifebout. Yasir Saki, Ziawadi, Sieb, Lawrence and Chris all deciding to go longer on their first stint.
Yeah, I don't blame them as well, because they're down at the back of the field. Everybody else up at the front wanting to hold position. Everybody else at the back looking to try and change something. Kay Gatkovsky the only exception, as fastest lap of the race goes to Mateo. I talked about the fact that he's fast, and at the moment he's demonstrating that with the fastest lap of the race and getting through on Kevin Zunneberg. He's on that inside line, and he's going to try and squeeze Kevin out, as there's yellow flags in the first sector, and it's going to be Kay Gatkovsky, and there's a little bit of scrapping further up as Chris RBL and Yasir Saki scrapping away, and Yasir Saki slamming himself into the wall. I think he's locked up, and that's going to cause a virtual safety car.
Not great at all. Kevin Zunneberg and Mateo swapping positions under the safety car, it looks like, but Kevin has front right end plate damage, and it does Mateo. Mateo has no damage there, so that's good for Mateo. Tony just behind, who let's don't forget had crashed out in qualifying. Gatkowski with pretty much no front wing at all. That's very, very well damaged Red Bull there, as we've got one Red Bull leading the way and one languishing at the back. But let's have a look at the starters and see. Virtual safety car won't be out. It'll probably be out until these guys hit the start finish straight, and then we'll get to see whether the timing has caused any of them issues.
I think it was a very interestingly timed one. It was also not a great. It wasn't a great look, I don't think, on Yasser Saki in that incident, because it looked like he may well have given up and gone straight on or something along those lines. But I'm not gonna cast aspersions as well. Somehow it involved Kay Getkovsky as well. He's completely lost his front wing, and well, he's going to be coming into the pit just doing well to survive. As you were right, they have reactivated and started again down the main straight. It's green flag racing once again here in Azerbaijan, and the DRS is once again enabled. It was just in the nick of time to get those rear wings open, and it was just in the nick of time for Matteo to finally get that position sealed on Kevin Zunneberg and move up to 7th place. But he's not going to have DRS down the next straight, so he's going to have to work incredibly hard to catch back up. I think Kevin is actually going to cost our Matteo a lot of time here retrospectively. Kevin might actually try as well to try and get past the Alpine down the next straight. So the Kick Sauber making a huge effect on this race as Kay Getkovsky out. I think retiring in the pits this early on is a little bit premature. We've seen so far that there's been one incident that caused a virtual safety car. There's going to be potential for more, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a full course.
Yeah, it wouldn't be... well, I don't want to say it's common, but it is. Baku does have a habit of having safety cars, as we're just on board with Kevin. With that front wing damage, which maybe we're not going to see Kevin fight too much with drivers, as long as they can just keep with the DRS of the driver ahead the majority of the time. Ooh, and a big clip on the castle section there, and that's gonna cost you time more than save you time.
Yes, you don't want to clip anywhere, and I said there was going to be a full course safety car. Kay Getkovsky is going to look very silly, and Zviade looks even sillier because he's crashed in the castle section, and that's our first safety car, our first full course safety car of this Grand Prix. Lap 4 of 26. Are we going to be seeing some of those medium runners in?
It's a possibility, isn't it? It's very much a possibility for drivers to pop in. Someone we might see drop into the pits is Kevin Zunneberg, because they've got no front right end plate. We've mentioned already briefly that damage to front wings can be really costly when it comes to race performance, as Ziawadi leaving the session, but everyone looking like they're dropping into the pits.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's going to come in. Everybody will have chosen the harder tyre allocation, so everyone's going to have another set of hards, and I think that's what the majority of the field are going to go on. We're going to see whether they will. I think those medium runners are going to try and stretch them to the end if they possibly can. Those hard runners who started off are going to try and have to go again. Namsko, Livebout, Lawrence and Chris RBL have gone on and will, of course, and take the top 4 spots in this Grand Prix as everybody else into the pits for a set of hards, barring Sieb, who's coming for a new set of the medium compound of tyre, and well, he's going to be out in that 16th place as Tony Reich will be rounding out the field. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see at this point in time what those drivers who started on hards are going to do, because the right thing to do is just to see how long this stint can go. But then if you get another safety car, then you're truly screwed, because you only get 2 sets of hard compound tyres. The mediums aren't bad, but the hards are significantly better and they will last significantly longer. So I don't hate Namsko, Lifebout, Lawrence and Chris RBL staying out. Those tyres are going to be good for the next 20 odd laps probably, or maybe something along the lines of like 17, 18 more laps. So giving scope for a lot of for action for safety cars to be happening. But yeah, the medium tyres at the moment don't look like the smartest decision from Sieb, but I personally would have stayed out.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Sieb's position there. Maybe they went like a neutral tyre allocation, which is why they had 2 mediums instead of 2 sets of hards. Do you think that's why they just not thought that much ahead?
I think they might come back into the pits again. I think they might come in for the same set of hards that they were on at the start. I think they were on a set of the hards at the very least. I might be very wrong. No, they were on a set of hards, so I think they're going to switch back to them at the end of this lap. It makes sense for them to do that. Weirdly enough, I thought more drivers were going to do that. I thought those 4 at the top, fine, they're going to stay out, do whatever. I think there was, how many was there? There was 7 drivers on a set of the hards at the start of the race. And yeah, there was 7. There's 2 of them are out, which isn't helpful. And Sieb's actually the only one that didn't stay out. So, well, that demonstrates, I think, this scramble that they had at the start of the race down at the bottom of the field. Is Sieb going to come in on this lap, or no? He is going to continue on the mediums. I would have so come in for a set for those hards again, because they will run to the very end, I reckon.
Here we go. Lauren's getting very close to Lifebout, pretty much alongside them under the safety car, heading down the start-finish straight. Possibly just reminding the Haas driver that, no, I'm gonna be trying that when the safety car comes in. You better be ready. As drivers warming those tyres up. Venom has dropped a fair few positions down the order through all this as well, with everything going on. Quantum dropping behind Enzo as well, I believe. As we just see Lauren's nearly bin it under trying to heat those keep those tyres warm, which is not ideal. But yeah, Venom and Quantum losing a few positions.
Yes, we'll see what happens when the safety car comes in as well, because I think that's going to cause drama. I think those hard runners at the front of the new hards field, I think are going to feel like their tyres are going to work a lot better than those heads. They're going to feel entitled to those positions, so potentially, you predicted an incident earlier on in this race. I think we could be seeing that off the start. Nothing Hamilton 2021-esque, but I think we'll be seeing something dramatic happening at some point in the next few laps when they get underway. And I think they will be getting underway this lap, if not, then 100% next lap. They're actually taking a very long time if they are going to come in on this lap to announce it. And well, we will see whether we are going to be able to get the green flag racing. Of course, it's a very long straight, so it's the opportunity for the safety car to go away, and it is going to be in this lap. It was called around the final corner, and Namsko will be the driver to lead us to the green flag racing. Lifebout Lawrence and Chris RBL, both on, or all on, a set of hard compound tyres, but those ones are a little bit more worn. Yeroen leading the new hard compound tyre pack.
And they don't need to get out the way as well, but well, it's they're all in the same race. We're likely to see a lot of these drivers probably pit again, but the hards could make it to the end from this point, the ones that have just been put on. But let's have a look at what the leaders do. When does the Mercedes of Namsko decide to put the power down and go again for lap 6, going into lap 7, warming those tyres up, taking a long time to decide to push, but you don't want to go too early because it is a long straight and you'll just give everyone the slipstream behind. But you don't want to leave it too late, or otherwise you're a sitting duck anyway. It's a very niche bit, but Lauren's getting a 10-second penalty. That's not ideal for Lauren's. And my goodness me, there we go. Namsko deciding to go very late. Very, very late as they go into turn 1. Chris going up the inside. There's a little bit of contact. There's a huge gaggle of cars as they go through turn 1. The Kick Saubers and the Aston Martins getting very close together as well. But Namsko causing an absolute bit of carnage through turn 1, and your prediction nearly came true because of it.
I saw many, many, many front wing end plates falling off, and I'm seeing many scraps here in this mid-pack. It's going to be 3 wide for 8th place. Venom sending it down the inside of Mateo. Is he going to be able to get it as Quantum smartly backed out of it? Mateo's going to squeeze Venom all the way to the wall, and I think that might be an end plate for the V-carb fallen off now. Mateo might have had an end plate of his own, which is why he didn't have the full turning circle that he wanted to have, as Yeroen taps the wall. And actually the ghosting from tapping the wall has benefited him because it's allowed him to stay ahead of Lawrence and ahead of Dirk as well. Lawrence dropping to 6th place on the safety car restart. He's the only one on the old hards that has actually dropped down positions as Ryderdal tried to stay side by side with Quantum into the castle section. It hasn't worked. The yellow flag's out as Kevin Zunneberg is the latest victim of the castle section. I think he just tried to avoid a bit of carnage that was happening in said castle section, and well, he just went straight on.
Not ideal at all as we go on board with... Let's go on board with Lawrence, because they got a very quick Ferrari behind. Enzo Sabaton trying to find a way through. But I'm just trying to... There's a lot of cars with front end plate damage, and that's going to cost them dearly, as Mateo, I believe, is definitely one, and having a very interesting time with Venom through that first lap again, as DRS is back enabled. Enzo Sabaton going very slowly in comparison to these two, who were caught up at a rate of knots, but at the moment neither Mateo or Venom can get past Enzo, as Yeroen getting past... Oh, no, not getting past Lifebout. Getting very close to Lifebout, but getting past Chris.
Yes, Yeroen making his way past Chris RBL and up into that third place. Chris on that inside now and trying to get back through on Yeroen, who's still going to hold that inside line and manages to hold on to third place for the time being. And, well, he's doing very well on the new set of hard compound tyres, and he's making full advantage of them while they last. And Lifebout and Namsco 1 and 2. Yeroen in that third place. Dirk now looking for the opportunity to try and get past Chris as the gap's big between Dirk and Lawrence at this point in time. There might be no DRS for the Williams on the next lap of this Grand Prix, which is interesting because Lawrence has really had a pace deficit this weekend, crashing in qualifying and starting from the back of the grid. He's jumped up to 6th place with the strategy, but it looks like he's just going to drop back down again as he is almost out of that DRS zone. And speaking of, Namsco has managed to break DRS to Lifebound.
What a few sections of or sector of corners, whatever you want to call it. Namsco has produced something there to cause a little bit of an issue for Lifebout, because Yeroen is just gonna, well, fly past when they go down the start-finish straight. Heading down there now, the DRS will be wide open just as they get to the pit lane mark, and pretty much there. And already Dirk is past Chris, Enzo is past Lawrence, and Yeroen slides it up the inside, nearly collecting Lifebout with it, but position gained. But they are 1.6 seconds behind the Mercedes.
Yes, it's not ideal at the moment. It's Tony Reish who's retired in the pit lane, and well, that brings the Kick-Sauber's end evening to a miserable end. Dirk making his way past Lifebout. He's up into 3rd place for now. Enzo Sabaton making his way past Lawrence, and he's up into 6th place, managing to stay within the DRS as well of Chris RBL ahead. So he's done a very good job to keep that momentum up as we have dropped down to 16 drivers left in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's Namsco leading the way, an incredible restart, but Yeroen has the opportunity to close it back in. The pace he's shown so far in this city is incredible. The pace that Yeroen and Dirk have shown so far this race in general is very, very good, and I think they're going to make it back within the DRS. You know, I think Lifebout might drop out, but I think Yeroen and Dirk are going to be in the DRS in Namsco before long.
Well, Ryder Dahl is down to 11th place, so I'm not 100% sure what happened to them, because Ryder Dahl was between Dirk and Yeroen after a quality start to this Grand Prix from on lap 1, but has absolutely tumbled down the order and is behind their teammate Matteo. And that is the championship battle right now, is between the two of them.
Yes, at the moment it's well, the pace that the top 3 is showing a very, very good Quantum, ready to fight with Lawrence. And he's going to be getting that DRS down the main straight, so will Lawrence. But I think Quantum might just put another dampener on at the Williams' day. DRS down the main straight as we're going to head onto lap number 10 of this Grand Prix. We're into double figures, and Namsco leading the way ahead of Yeroen. There's a move further down the field. Quantum is going to try and make that move on Lawrence, and he sends it to the inside and makes the corner. So it's a very, very good move from Quantum. And he's up into 7th place. And looking at Enzo Sabaton now. Sabaton and Quantum, both behind Lifebout and Chris RBL. They're going to be feeling at this point like those tyres are going to be the better ones, as Yeroen, with the DRS, he's up into the lead of the race. And I think it's only a matter of time as to when Dirk is going to make his way through too.
Yeah, Dirk's got to do it quickly as well, because the fresher tyres, even though it's 4 laps, we bang on about it every race, it feels like. But that tyre difference can make a difference with pace and going through the slower sections, and you can already see Namsco struggling. There is a yellow flag for a crash further down. I think that's Venom off the track and gone, and that's not ideal for the Shazoo Cedar Igniters driver. But look at that, Namsco 1.1 seconds behind, and Dirk could have lost their opportunity to take victory here tonight.
Yeah, I think they may well have done. Not ideal at all. They're just too desperate to get past Dirk. He's still, though, going to try and fly through, and I think he's conserved a lot in that stint behind Yeroen, just being carried a lot by the Red Bull, who's now trying to blow the field away, and that's exactly what you've got to do if you want to win a race on this game. If you want to win a race on this game, you're going to do it by being incredibly quick and breaking DRS, especially when you've got 2 DRS zones pretty much back to back. Dirk is going to close in on Namsco. He's going to get through on the Mercedes, but this is actually going to cost him, I think, a little bit of time, as he's going to go side by side and through. He's used up ERS to get through. I think Dirk is going to be re-overtaken by Namsco down the next straight. That's just the nature of this circuit, and that is exactly why Yeroen pushed as hard as he did. But Dirk now has pushed even harder to get out of the DRS in Namsco. It has worked. So Namsco going from right behind Dirk to P3, going actually from right ahead of Dirk at the start of the straight to dropping down to P3. It might be P4 soon. Enzo Sabaton in 4th place. The two McLarens side by side. Quantum ahead of Chris RBL, and he does make that move. So it's 4th for Enzo Sabaton, 5th for Lifebout, and 6th for Quantum as they close in on Namsco, who's got an incredible pace deficit to Dirk. Now it's a 2.1 second gap.
It's Dirk's pushing, but Enzo Sabaton's had a very good race through all this. I don't want to have a look at the fastest lap. Let's have a look at the positional changes. Enzo's up 1 place. It just feels like it's a better race than they have. Chris is up 12 positions, but obviously Namsco, Lifebout, Chris and Lawrence will have to pit. 3-second time penalty. Kevin struggling with that damage. I think Venom is as well. Let's have a quick look at Venom, see what sort of damage is on that RB. Is it similar to... No, there's no damage on the RB. That's an interesting one. But back to Enzo, because I think Enzo is going to make a move on Namsco very quickly.
Yes, it's, well, lap 11 heading on to lap number 12 of this race. We're almost at the halfway mark, and Namsco drops down 3 seconds behind Dirk now. Enzo Sabaton is going to get the DRS, and is he going to be able to get into the range of Namsco and the overtaking opportunity? No, he's not. Mateo through on Chris RBL up into 7th place, and Chris dropping down. Mateo is not going to get the DRS into the next straight unless he pushes incredibly hard in the first couple of corners on this racetrack. Is he going to be able to? Is he successful? The answer is no. He's just about outside by about a 10th or a 100th even of a second, so it's incredibly close. Tom has come into the pit, and well, that's an interesting decision, a very interesting decision for Tom to come into the pit, and that's cost him a lot of time. Ryder Dahl through on Chris RBL. So it's well, it's McLaren, Alpine, McLaren for 6th down to 9th place, and well, they've managed to make it into the DRS and Namsco as well. So I think the fight for P3 might be about to light up.
See what Quantum can do. Quantum's desperate to get through. Lifebout through all this, as looking up the inside into turn 7. This is very opportunistic from the McLaren driver, hopping over the curb, and it's looked like they're going to get the move done. There's going to be no grip in comparison from Lifebout to Quantum. Quantum up into P5 and doesn't want to let Enzo get too far in front of them. Dirk is desperately hanging on to the DRS range of Giroen in P1, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It's just teetering between 9/10 of a second and just over a second. Getting close to it, I think they might be able to do it. Lawrence picks up a 3-second time penalty for their trouble, along with their 10-second penalty that they already had. It's going to cost them massively. Dirk very, very close to it. Quantum outside of a second of this driver, Enzo Sabaton, who is all over the back of the Mercedes of Namsco as they come down the start-finish straight. The move's going to be done before the DRS opens. Yes,
it certainly is. Enzo Sabaton making his way up to 3rd place. Namsco dropping it down to 4th, and Mateo getting his way through on Lifebout as well. And he's up into 6th place. Quantum no DRS on Namsco, so I think Mateo is going to be able to get his way past the McLaren as they head down towards turn number 3. Misha is going to get through on Lawrence as well, who's I think really feeling those tyres now for whatever reason, as well, they're side by side as well. Ryder Dahl through on Lifebout, so the driver dropping down a number of positions in the Haas, and Mateo actually not able to get close enough to Quantum, who's pushed hard enough as the McLaren to stay ahead of the driver behind, and well, now he's only 1.1 behind Namsco. Misha and Lawrence's fight is continuing to ignite, and Misha having to tap the wall. Lawrence squeezing him all the way to that inside, but there's no damage for the two, so they continue on, and it's Misha's turn to give him the squeeze. Lawrence's turn to push him into the wall, and that's going to be damage for Misha, and surely a penalty for Lawrence.
Definitely damage for Lawrence, maybe a penalty as well. Oh my goodness me, what is going on?
Carnage.
Yeah, I'm going to go off this and go to drivers at the top end of the field, because Quantum, Mateo and Ryder Dahl are all up to Namsco as they head towards to finish lap 13 and to start lap 14 of this Grand Prix.
Yes, and well, we are going to be over halfway now, and it's certainly looking like Yarrow and Dirk are going to be the two contenders for the race lead. So this is me versus you as they head down the straight, and Dirk has that DRS on Yarrow, and 4.7 seconds the gap between them and Enzo Sabaton in third place, and Namsco in fourth, but that won't last long as Quantum with that DRS is going to get through. Volakongan as well on Lifebout, and that is 8th place for the Mercedes. It feels like, weirdly enough, it feels like Volakongan has been making overtakes all race long, and somehow he's only moved up 2 positions from 10th to 8th. I don't know how that works. But anyway, Sieb's into the pit lane, and he's going to get rid of those mediums finally. That feels like the right decision to do, and he's going to go to the end of the race on those hards now. And, well, he's down the bottom of the field. He's even behind Tom, and even behind whatever's going on with Lawrence and Misha and Kevin Zunneberg. We don't talk about it, but lap 14 of this race, Yarrow and Dirk, leaders of everybody, and they are clearly adapting well to the Baku City circuit.
5 seconds in front of Enzo, who is a further second in front of Quantum. Quantum should be able to do what everyone else has done when they overtook Namsco and just pull a gap through this middle sector and through the castle section, because Namsco just doesn't have the grip with those 4-lap older tyres in comparison to everyone else. But Namsco, give them their credit, have done really, really well in holding those positions at that position, and the way they've raced is fair enough. And maybe we should go on board with that, because holding up the championship rivals at the moment, there's a yellow flag somewhere on the track, but Matteo Ryderdal stuck behind this Mercedes for the time being, and they got Volakongan just behind as well, the reigning champion. So the reigning champion against the 2 championship rivals.
Yes, it very much is, and Volakongan currently in that 8th place, hoping to catch up to and overtake Ryderdal. This is going to be a very, very high-quality battle, I think, between all of these drivers, because, of course, as you say, championship contenders versus championship man. It's very, very, very interesting as Matteo gets through on Namsco. But it's Volakongan, of course, as I've mentioned before, the pace has not quite been there so far this season, but he just wants the opportunity to demonstrate what he can do, and what he can do is fight with the best of them, currently trailing Ryderdal, who's going to get through on Namsco, his Mercedes teammate. So Volakongan is now right in behind Namsco and ready to take the opportunity. Namsco, who did very well in the first bit of the stint, the second bit of the stint hasn't gone quite so well, and I think that the 4 laps of difference in the tyres has caught up to all the drivers, because Namsco, Lifebout, Chris RBL have been dropping down over the last few laps, and Lawrence dropped down pretty much straight off of the safety car. So we will see the tyre difference towards the end of the race. We'll also see, and I'll personally keep an eye on Sieb and the way that he develops with those hard compound tyres. Lawrence, that's not going to work if you want to cause a safety car, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Sieb's going to be able to do now. 2 tenths behind Kevin Zunneberg, and he's going to want to get through on the kickstand with no front wing, and he's done so pretty easily as Zunneberg and Tom continue running around in this field, and Sieb even now 1.9 behind the first serious driver on the circuit, Misha.
Let's go back up to Enzo. I don't think we're going to see Dirk and Euroin fight. I think they're just going to be happy pulling away from the rest of the grid. But Quantum, I feel, especially with their qualifying pace, feels like they feel like they should be higher up as they go to the inside of Enzo and dispatches the Ferrari driver with ease for the time being, but has Matteo for company joining behind, and Matteo and Ryderdal and Volakongan all joining suit as well. They're all tricky customers in their own right, as Enzo trying to find a new way past Quantum. You're not going to be able to make a pass like that into turn 2, definitely not on Quantum. He's been around the block a few times, so knows what they're doing defensively. And into turn 3 they go, still in position, still in front of Enzo, not having to do too much defending. Joseph, do we feel that, while these 11-lap-old tyres are definitely going to be nicer, but they'll pit again, won't they?
I think it's going to be a case of now trying to conserve the tyres. I think Yarrow and Dirk at the top are going to have the greatest opportunity to preserve their tyres as much as they possibly can towards the end of the stint. But I think we'll have to wait and see as to whether they're going to be able to manage those tyres, because, of course, it's going to come down to each individual driver. Ideal tyre life is about 11 laps around the Baku City circuit. Those hards wear about 4% a lap, I would say. So if they're going to be doing whatever it's going to end up being 20 laps, then it's going to end up being about 80% tyre wear. So it's going to get very, very tense. If you haven't saved those tyres, And of course, you're going to have to save them incredibly more. But yeah, Jeroen and Dirk in a great position to get the opportunity to save those tyres. And depending on your expectations, the likes of Lifebout and Chris, if they're just looking to consolidate the points now, they will be doing very well to try and conserve those tyres. Well, if they manage to conserve those hard to the end, they deserve more points than they would be getting, because of that would just be absolutely incredible. As Quantum trying to break free of Enzo Sabaton, I think, in that third place and trying to solidify that podium position. As I believe we do have our first pitter, and it's going to be our first pitter from this pack, and it's going to be Namsko.
Enzo Sabaton I was on board with, and that's more damage to the front wing for the Ferrari driver. Nearly completely tank slaps their car out the exit of turn 1, and now Matteo gets through. Namsko has to go on to a set of medium compound tyres just to, they haven't pitted, but my goodness me, I can't believe Enzo was able to hold that, but it caused damage to that front right end plate to the Ferrari. And they are going to go slower because of it, as can Matteo catch back up with Quantum and pull into this. I'm not 100% sure. They're going to have a really good castle section, otherwise Quantum could maybe look at pulling away. But it's like you were saying, whether they're going to be able to, or whether they've saved these tyres enough, or are we going to see some more pits through all this?
I think the reason Jeroen and Dirk have been so quick in the second stint, and it's partially down to their natural pace, but also partially down to the fact that literally everybody is missing a front wing end plate. Quantum isn't, but Matteo and Enzo are, and of course Enzo picking his front wing damage up on the last lap. And then you've got, I believe, Lifebound and Chris had damage as well, or I'm actually not seeing it. So I saw a lot of front wing end plates flying off, and I was just having a look to see whose front wing end plates had flown off, but I know that Matteo and Enzo have dropped theirs off, and they will surely be coming to the pits in the next couple of laps, because it's really hurting their pace, especially Enzo Sabaton, who's dropped out of the DRS of Matteo, and he's going to be passed by Riederdal and probably Volakongan now as they both get through. And Volakongan tries to take the opportunity to get a pop at Riederdal, but doesn't do so in the end, so stays in position. Lifebout and Chris into the pit lane, and they will be switching on to a set of the mediums to take them to the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now, as we get back to the battle for this fifth place, Riederdal leading the way, Volakongan wanting that position but not close enough, and he is going to stay in behind, and I think he's going to manage this one to the end now. I think he doesn't mind following through, maybe taking alternative lines to try and save those tyres. I saw Dirk doing that on the previous lap, by the way, so I think Dirk and Jeroen might be going to the end, but Sabaton and Volakongan are going to try and manage their tyres as much as they can behind Riederdal and try and make the Alpine do all the pushing for them to catch up to the DRS of Matteo and Quantum.
Let's see what happens. And you know what, Sieb, who possibly is a problem driver for Quantum, Matteo, Riederdal, Volakongan, Sabaton, in the respect of, if they come out, they'll have to overtake. If they come into the pits again, they'll have to overtake Sieb, and Sieb is running pretty smoothly on those hard compounder tyres at the moment, but is being caught by Namsko at the moment. We definitely know those hards will go to the end, but Dirk and Jeroen will not be in that problem at all, and they've done a wonderful job to gap Quantum, Matteo, Riederdal, who, well, were all part of that squabbling after the safety car restart. And well, Namsko is looking pretty quick on those mediums right now, caught up quite quickly to Sieb. This is going to be an interesting one through all this.
Yes, towards the end of the race, the final few points are going to be scrapped over, and I think they're going to be scrapped over quite aggressively. We're going to see as we head on to lap number 19 now of 26. So not too many to go, and it's going to be Jeroen in the lead of this one still, as Namsko gets through on Sieb and gets the fastest lap as he goes. I've been very impressed with Namsko this race. Haven't seen much of him at all, and the Mercedes is arguably one of the quicker drivers on the grid. Of course, he stayed out, which helped him as it allowed him to get up the field, and it's actually ended up hindering him because he's going to be down and fighting for the lower points positions, which is arguably lower than he deserves to be fighting for. But hey, you never know, 7 laps to go. He might get past Venom. Don't know if he's going to have the pace to catch up to Sabaton, but he's certainly going to try.
Yeah, he's up 2 positions from where he started, so that's a good, it's good, but also bad at the same time. It's very, very odd. It's a very weird surreal situation with the pit stop, what happened for the safety car when it came out for them. But they're showing some real strong pace at the moment. Let's see how quickly they can get to Venom and get past Venom. Venom also holding damage to that RB car as well. Let's go back. Let's just stay on board with Namsco. They're producing some talent for us and some wonderful racing. So let's see if they continue that for the time being.
Yes, I'd say the majority of this race, apart from the carnage of the safety car restart, has been very, very clean from a lot of these drivers. The side-by-side racing has been very good, and that's been helped by the DRS. That's why I think the DRS going for 2026 is going to be not the greatest thing for real life, let alone the game. And I think also with the way that the dirty air and the safety and the ERS is at the moment, and you know, all the slipstream and stuff like that, I really think it might kill the game off if they don't get it right. But at the moment, we can just enjoy DRS racing at its fullest, as it does make for, I won't lie, it does make for boring overtakes, but it also makes for very, very good races as well. Namsco demonstrating a very good race in himself, moving up to 8th place, getting ahead of Venom, and picking up another fastest lap as he goes. So it's been a very good performance, as I've said, from the Mercedes, and he establishes himself in, of course, the main console lights. Yeah, makes his way through on Venom as well, so maybe it's the VCarb's lack of pace that allowed Namsco back in. But Siev has dropped out of the DRS from the Mercedes as he has broken that 10-second mark and starts to stamp his authority on that gap between himself and Enzo Sabaton. Sabaton, who I think should have come into the pits, because his front wing damage is really harming him now.
Definitely. Really some incredible pace, and actually there's more front wing damage to that Ferrari. Enzo's Ferrari's got even worse damage now. We're definitely going to see them pit surely now. They don't think they can survive this to the end, can they? They're going to get eaten alive.
Well, I mean, they're certainly going to try it at the very least. I personally don't think it's going to work, but of course we'll have to wait and see. Of course we'll wait and see as we head on to 21 of 26, and Yerowan leading the way, Dirk in second, and as I've said before, they're in prime position to conserve those tyres. Matteo and Quantum aren't going to conserve those tyres if they keep fighting. It's also going to be very difficult for Matteo in particular to conserve those tyres when he's got no front wing end plate on the right hand side, because it's just going to mean that he's going to have to push the car a little bit more, and he's going to have to load the tyres a little bit more. So I think these drivers are going to try to go all the way to the end on these hards. I think it's going to be incredibly difficult. They are certainly going to try, and well, they've only got 5 laps left to do so. So Matteo is going to be on a set of these hards to the very end, as is Yarrow and Dirk, Quantum, Volokongan, Ryderdal, and Enzo Sabaton. And of course, you were joined by Leopard when you were having a conversation about or watching the final round of the season last time out at Austria. This could be a very interesting end.
It can be. Punches. We saw punches at the beginning of the season, didn't we? It's possible. This game has brought a few more issues for the drivers to hold, as the yellow flag for Kevin Zunneberg's retirement in the pit lane. Misha has 19 seconds behind everyone else. That's not the ideal way through this. Matteo pulling away from Quantum now, even with front right end plate damage, is managing to match and better Quantum with a full front wing. So fair play to Matteo for the time being. Dirk unable, well, I don't know if we're saying unable to or not wanting to attack the Shizou Cedar Igniter driver and teammate alongside him in the sister Red Bull car, but definitely pulling out of the slipstream, saving those tyres a little bit. Maybe we're going to see the aged old will attack on the last lap and see where it goes from there. Volokongan and Quantum splitting Matteo and Ryderdal, which is crucial in the championship battle, and VNT Tom and Venom swapping positions. Venom really struggling with their front wing damage as well. And let's just sit on board with Quantum, who is starting to fight back against Matteo.
Yes, he is. Matteo is going to be he's going to be very much under pressure from Quantum. Of course, he hasn't got that end plate, and so Matteo's tyres are going to be worse. Matteo's going to have less turning in. Quantum is going to have that advantage in pretty much every way, apart from currently the track position advantage. So we'll see whether Quantum's going to be... I think it's more of a case of when Quantum makes his way through. And yeah, we're gonna have a look and see what Quantum's going to be able to do down at the main straight once again, because Matteo has been able to hold on to the battle, to be fair to him, and I think he's got quite a lot of ERS on that tank. I've seen that rear red light flashing a couple of times to indicate that he's either full or completely empty of ERS. So we'll see what Matteo is capable of as we head down the main straight to start lap number 23, and well, we will see what they're going to be able to do. Nero and Dirk staying within range of each other, and they've only got 3 more laps to hold on to, or even 4 more laps, including lap 26, to hold on to those hard compounder tyres. I think we're going to be starting to get punches on lap 25 and 26, though. So this race result, these top 7 as they are, is not going to be how it is. And, well, I know that for a fact, because Namsko is on the back of Enzo Sabaton, who's got a penalty anyway, and he's going to be able to get through. But looking up at Quantum, who gets through on Matteo, he's up into that 3rd place now, just visiting back with Namsko, who's through, and Sabaton has pitted.
Yeah, and Sabaton retiring from the race. That's... wow, okay. Lifebout and VNT Tom swapping through. We'll have to... well, let's go back up to Matteo. The battle for the podium position. Surprised that Sabaton retired there, but I'm also not with the way that they were dropping. They probably... well, we both mentioned that they should have pitted earlier on. Venom going on to a set of softs, wanting a little bit of pride with their... final few laps and get a fastest lap, because I don't think Venom, they're not as slow as the front wing was suggesting that they were today, as it's not ideal. And something I do want to, you know, I know it's lap 23 or 26, so it's probably not going to make a difference. It was beautiful sunshine at the beginning of this race. It's getting very, very cloudy again. Are we going to see some massively late drama where tyres are nearly to breaking point and it's wet?
I think potentially this might even work in the favour of the drivers on the hards if it does rain, because I said it was probably going to rain at the start of the race there. The pace that they were showing wasn't quite on the level that you would be expecting from Tier 1 drivers in the dry conditions. So maybe we've got wet, or maybe it's just stayed off, and they'll be absolutely fine towards the end of this Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see, but as we know on this game, it tends to, when it rains, it tends to pour, and we've got just a few laps left to see what they're going to be able to do. But I think you're right. I think it is going to rain towards the end of this race, and I think the drivers have prepared for this scenario in terms of them having the right setups on. However, we have seen in that last lap Enzo Sabaton coming into the pit. I don't know whether he was going to be coming in onto anything, well, because he retired from the race, but that was potentially the lap where you wanted to pit, because it is now raining on this Baku Street City circuit. Is it raining enough yet to warrant anything? No, but I can see some rain appearing on some of the tyres. It's potentially rain or graining, because I'm watching those on the hard sets of tyres, so I actually think it might be graining. So those tyres are really, really struggling. And, well, my prediction, having had a look at all of the tyres for who's going to get that puncture first, because it's going to be a who, not when, I think it's going to be Matteo. I think that front right looks like it's holding on for dear life.
Ryder Dahl has just caused themselves damage into turn 3, or at the exit of turn 3. Front right end plate, and that is problematic. And I'll tell you what, Ryder Dahl's front right does not look happy either. A lot of cars do not look happy. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, it's very similar to Matteo. Matteo's dropping away from Quantum. If we have a look at Quantum's tyres, I'll tell you what, none of them look really in any way, shape or form or like something you want to see. But my goodness me. Penultimate lap of the race then. The leaders still squabbling away. Well, the leaders are still not squabbling away, I think is the best way to describe it. But Dirk a little bit closer this time around of asking, maybe trying to line up a move, but their tyres don't look particularly well.
No, I don't think their tyres are well, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think I think we are going to be getting punches on the last lap of this race. If we don't, we'll look very silly. But if we do, then it will be absolutely incredible drama. As I'm swapping between the points of views of every single one of these cars just to see who's pops first. They need to be using no curbing at all in these final few laps, which is going to benefit Namsco, who's going to be able to close in, and Venom as well, who of course is so far off the pack that it doesn't matter, but he's picked out that fastest lap of the race. He's stolen it off of Namsco, who is in that 7th place at the moment. All of these tyres and all of these drivers holding on, and I think they're all preparing their ERS tanks for this final lap, simply because if you do have a puncher down the back straight on the last lap, you're going to be able to use everything that you possibly have to get past, and you want to be in the lead of your pack heading into the last lap of this race, which is why Quantum's in a great position, which is why Dirk is pushing now to try and get past Yerowan, and it's why Yerowan is pushing to try and stay ahead of Dirk. Now, this is the battle for the lead of the race. It's going to come down to the first 3 corners on this track, and Yerowan currently leads the way, but Dirk is going to get that ERS and that DRS advantage as well as that slipstream. He pulls to the outside line, and Yerowan is going to let him through. He wants that DRS into turn number 2. Are we going to be able to see him get that DRS from turn 2 and out to the exit of turn number 3? He's going to get a bit of a squirm out of the first corner, and so that's not going to help him at all, staying within range. But it does look very slippy on the circuit, so I think the rain may have arrived at a terrible time for Yerowan. Dirk moving to the inside, holding that slipstream and daring Yerowan to go to that inside line. Yerowan does not take the bait, and so holds on to that second position, and I think that might have been played perfectly by Dirk.
Wow, Dirk and Kieran. Well, we've waited a long time, 21 laps to be precise, pretty well it feels like, for these two to start kicking it off. But on the final lap of the race, it is kicking off. Can their tyres hold out to the end? There's a big lock-up from Dirk, a big cloud of smoke coming from the RB car through the castle section. Is all swimmingly at the moment. Siab getting past Namsco as well, so the hard's coming to fruition for the Aston Martin driver. But as they head through the final few parts of this, or the final, well, it's still technically sector 2, into, it's a big jump through turn 15 as well. We mentioned in qualifying that could be a big point to watch out for. Yerowan though, stuck behind, back end stepping out, that's going to cost them time, but Dirk is going to, well, come through at this moment in time, going to win the race as they head on through. It's 9/10 of a second. What a race driven by Dirk. If this is going to come through, it is absolutely going to come through. Dirk takes victory tonight at Baku City Circuit at the start of season 2 of the season, the second half of the season, I should say, as Quantum coming through with Matteo Volokongan and Ryder Dahl all close behind, and Ryder Dahl managing just to hold on with that front wing damage in the end.
Yes, just about, and nobody getting that puncture in the end. They all managed to hold on to very knackered, hard compound tyres. They did an incredible job to manage them, and that's exactly what you expect from the top-tier drivers here in World Online Racing. The top 6 then holding on to their hards towards the end. Sieb in 7th on a set of the hards in the Aston Martin, but it's a 9 laps younger set, and the Namsco 10 laps on those mediums was just that little bit too much. Lifebout in 9th, and Tom getting past Chris RBL with the penalty, and he moves up to the points positions. And our final finish here is going to be Venom showing the pace at the end of that stint. But that's an incredible race, driven very, very well from a number of the drivers, and Dirk, probably the deserved victor.
Yeah, I finally got one right on the race victory side of things. It's about time. But yeah, what a race, and those two. I mean, if you could hand out a first place for 2 drivers, those two produced such a good result. So fair play to them indeed. And well, Quantum coming home in 3rd in the end. Let Matteo have a little bit of the punching through the air at certain stages, but decided to get through in the end. The driver of the day has been given to Sieb, but I'll ask for your opinion on that very, very shortly. Dirk, Yerowan and Quantum on the podium, as we just saw. Matteo Volokongan, Ryder Dahl, Sieb, Namsco, Lifebout and Tom in the points. No points for Chris or Venom, and we lost Misha, Sabaton, Kevin, Lawrence, Tony, Ziawadi, Gatkowski and Yasuya Saki through this one.